This is the Hanta virus season. We are gathering information, we are getting news from multiple sources in the media that a cruise ship called the Hondias, which sailed from southern Argentina and is now somewhere near the Canary Islands, has had 3 people who have died because of infection with the Hanta virus. They had the pulmonary syndrome Hanta virus disease. 3 people have been evacuated. The doctor on board is also very sick and has been evacuated. When this particular ship docked at St. Helena, which is somewhere in the Atlantic, probably 23 people disembarked, and they have gone to various parts of the world. There is 1 in Australia, 2 in Singapore, 1 in Switzerland, and some in America. We also learned that the Americans are concerned and are sending a ship, not a ship, but an aeroplane to evacuate more Americans. Probably there are another 13 or 15 Americans who have to be evacuated, and these people will be taken to the Nebraska Health Center in the United States of America and put in quarantine. Now, what is the Hanta virus? The Hanta virus is a negative sense single strand RNA virus. What is a negative sense virus? A negative sense virus means that this virus has to be converted to a positive sense for the host cell to read its genomic structure in order for it to replicate. And in order to do that, the virus has an enzyme called the RNA dependent RNA polymerase. Now, this particular virus, the Hanta virus, has 3 segments: a small, a medium, and a large one. The large segment has this enzyme, the polymerase enzyme. The medium segment has the glycoproteins, which help this virus attach itself to the host cells, and the small segment has the nucleocapsid, which helps it to replicate in the host cell. Now, apart from that, the important thing is that this virus causes 2 types of hantavirus diseases. One is called the hemorrhagic renal syndrome, which is present in Asia and Europe, and the other one is present in the Americas, that is North America and Latin America, and this causes the pulmonary syndrome hantavirus disease. The pulmonary syndrome virus disease is attacking the lungs. There is inflammation, and because of inflammation in the vessels, the blood vessels of the lungs, there is fluid which leaks out and causes a pulmonary edema, and this is a non-cardiac pulmonary edema, because it is not because of heart failure, but because of infection and thereby inflammation in the lungs because of this virus. And this disease, the pulmonary syndrome variety, is currently infecting these people in the cruise ship, the Hondias. Now, the important thing to bear in mind is that almost all single strand RNA viruses can be tackled either by hydroxychloroquine or by ivermectin. I personally have treated quite a few patients with the influenza A, influenza B, and also parainfluenza. Now, all flus are caused by RNA viruses. I have also treated a couple of patients with dengue with ivermectin, and of course hundreds of patients with COVID with ivermectin. And this is important because I understand the WHO has officially stated that ivermectin does not work in Hanta patients. Now, this is obviously untrue because the WHO has not conducted any studies on this virus, either in vitro or in vivo. So therefore, in case this virus infects someone, then a good and an effective and a safe antidote would be tablet ivermectin. Ivermectin is freely available in India. I have said that on multiple occasions. It is reasonably cheap, in fact very cheap, and the dosage should be for about 3 or 4 days. Now, another misinformation which is being spread by a lot of people, a lot of so-called experts, particularly from the West, is that this virus is not transmitted in air, and that it is a very rare phenomenon and does not cause a lot of damage. Now, to answer that, I will provide you a link to a study which was published almost 5.5 years back in December 2020 in the New England Journal of Medicine. This study tells us that about 32 patients were infected by this virus, and this was by the phenomenon of super spreading. That is, just 3 people managed to infect 30 or 32 people in Argentina, and of these 32 people who were infected, 11 died, which gives us a mortality rate of 32%, which is very high. It is believed that the virus can kill up to 50%. Now, these people were provided supportive therapy, and of course the WHO states that there is no therapy. In fact, a lot of people will tell you that there is no therapy. And also importantly, this paper tells us that 18% of these patients who got infected by the Hanta virus did not get infected by prolonged close contact to an infected person, but by aerosol or droplets, which means that this virus can also spread from human being to human being. In fact, the paper is titled, I think, air-to-air transmission. So this is very important to remember, that despite the fact that the virus carries a very high mortality rate, 30% mortality rate recorded in this paper. Some people say that the mortality could be as high as 50% in the pulmonary syndrome variety disease. That is very, very high. You've got to be very careful with this virus. And they claim that there is no therapy except supportive therapy, which again means just oxygen and a ventilator. We all know that what happened to the COVID patients. So therefore, I cannot emphasize enough that ivermectin, which works against these single-stranded RNA viruses, would be effective and should be tried at the earliest. If any of these people who have been infected on this cruise ship, or other people who could have been infected with this virus, are watching this video, they must scramble to collect ivermectin from wherever possible and try it on themselves. So I will summarize. There is this virus. This is an RNA virus, single-strand RNA virus, which can attack and which does attack the lungs. It causes pulmonary edema. It causes deaths at a very high rate, but there is an antidote available, and this antidote is ivermectin, which is freely available in India as of now, and which is exquisitely safe. There is just about no side effect with ivermectin. So once again I repeat that there is a virus called Hanta virus, which carries a pretty high mortality, a shockingly high mortality in fact, but this virus can be tackled with